in terms of stuff that I haven't seen, I want to see the rest of House of the Dragon, um, the second season of the new Lord of the Rings series, BBC series Wolf Hall. That's about Thomas Cromwell. You know, I also like to just rewatch things. I have sort of my favorite shows. So, I tend to revisit oldies but goodies, and they do tend to be period pieces. But generally speaking, anything that's put out by the BBC, I'm sort of a TV Anglophile because it's kinder and gentler. I tend to watch those. But my wife did get me hooked on Bridgerton because that's, sort of like period drama. And then I only found out after I decided I liked it that it was a romance novel. So I guess that's like a dirty pleasure. I don't know. I've been sort of a volunteer my whole life. I mean, I was the Boy Scout who never really grew up or out of Boy Scouting, so I do a lot of volunteering. I serve on the board of my church. That takes up a lot of my extra time. I serve in the Guard. That's taken up a lot of my time over the years. In terms of like I have hobbies that I enjoy that I sort of use to give myself an opportunity to relax. But between the kids and work and the volunteering, there's not a lot of time left over after that. So I tell you, one of my great passions is a good night's sleep. Yeah, I possess a lot of legal superpowers. Anyone who knows me thinks that knows that I have a very high opinion of my abilities. But people who know me really well might also be shocked, but agree with me when I say my memory. Now, I might not remember what I had for supper a couple days ago, but I have a really great knack for remembering case law, and I read a lot of it, and it sort of travels around with me. Melissa describes it as the Book of James, but it's this ability to recall decisional analyses, case names, and use those productively. I litigate a fair bit still, but I also spend a lot of my time assisting other attorneys at the office, and that's been one of my sort of highest and best use moments when somebody comes to me and says, I think there's case law on this, or I'd like to argue this position, and I have the ability to recall that I read an appellate division decision on that several years ago that covered a similar fact pattern, and we go find that and use it to the benefit of that attorney and their case and our client. Teddy Roosevelt, no question. What an interesting guy. Set aside his politics for a moment. The opportunity to meet a man who started a war presumably because he was bored, hunted everything that was living or not in the continent, and created the conservation movement, and probably would just be a great guy to have dinner with. I can't imagine that you'd walk away without having smiled and laughed the whole time, and probably learned quite a bit. Along with Melissa, we found this island. So I guess for no other reason than I was here before everybody else, but I am sort of like, one of the biggest nerds that you'll meet. My references are usually to science fiction. They're historical. Melissa usually tells me that I'm really boring the hell out of everybody when it comes to my history references. The hobbies that I do have are super geeky. I've painted models, I've played magic cards, I collect chessmen. I have lots of weird geeky hobbies. I'm very much a scratch and dent, nobody's perfect, and if I have any redeeming quality, it's to recognize some of my own shortcomings, and I have plenty of them, so I definitely fit in on the island of misfit toys. Well, most of the clients have my cell phone number already, especially if I'm working on cases with them. So they tend to just reach out to me by cell phone or text. But you can always email me at the office. Our contact information is on the website. And if you can't see me there, you probably see me presenting or present at one of the big conferences. I'm usually always there, if not presenting. So I'm around, and I try and make myself available for my clients all the time. I've had the odd 8 p.m. conference call because we needed to align with a party who's real busy. But typically, anytime in ordinary business hours, like 8 a.m. to about 6 p.m., you'll find me sitting at the office working away at my computer.